Here's exactly how to get all 15 new weapons in the Legacy of the Forge DLC for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. But be warned that a lot of these weapons are completely missable, so I'm going to pinpoint exactly how not to miss them in your own playthrough. So leave a like if you find it helpful. Once you make it to the Kuttenberg region, you'll be able to go here on the map to start the quest line for Henry's Forge. Your first mission is going to be to forge a Blacksmith's Guild Longsword, and you'll be given the recipe to do this. This will allow you to now craft the top tier quality version of the Blacksmith's Guild Longsword, which deals 150 stab, 143 slash, and 29 blunt damage. But the remaining unique missable weapons are all obtained during the Blacksmith activity side quests. Most of these quests are repeatable, but there are some unique story quests in between them that are going to reward these unique items. And you can keep resetting these activities over and over until you get the right one by waiting or sleeping until 9 AM in the morning each day and then checking the map for new activity markers. You can also eat the honey at Henry's Forge for unlimited food so you never starve. Starting out, there are several unique weapons you can get from the investigation missions in service of the guild, which is indicated by this eye icon that always appears here on the map. Once you arrive, you can go inside the weapon shop and talk to Master Klaus Eichner, who is constantly getting robbed. Each mission, he's going to send you to a random bandit camp on the map to recover some stolen goods, which will be located in a chest guarded by bandits. And you're going to find random materials, armor, and crafting recipes for different weapons inside, as well as some unique items, but in no specific order. Let me go over what you can find because they all appear randomly. Firstly, we have the Cavalier's Axe crafting recipe, a fantastic new axe used by the Turkish raiders with a wide edge for smashing enemy skulls. The Henry Forge version deals 63 blunt damage and 112 slash damage, making it one of the best axes in the game, but still worse than the Knight's Axe, which already was in the game. The next weapon you can find is St. George's Sword recipe, one of the best one-handed swords in the game, and it's first found during the investigation quest where some bandits apparently attacked and killed a local blacksmith, and you need to find the orphan's inheritance. Once you reach the bandit camp and loot it out of the chest, you'll also find the St. George Sword recipe, and you can choose to lie about finding it, or you can turn it in for a gold reward. Don't worry if you do, because you can still find St. George's recipe randomly in future investigation missions. It's not lost forever. But once you've crafted St. George's blade, you'll discover the weapon is lavishly decorated. The blade bears a Latin inscription inlaid in gold. The crosshairs and pommel are decorated with flames and a severed dragon's head, which invokes St. George, patron of all knights' victory over the dragon. And the mastercrafted version deals 129 stab, 136 slash, and 20 blunt damage. It does require some rather rare ingredients to craft, but you can obtain these from your smith apprentice, and their inventory resets every few days, so I usually buy things when they're available, so I have them ready to craft unique items like this. And then you can find the last two unique weapons during the ending of the investigation story missions, which you'll get sporadically and randomly during your playthrough. So without spoiling anything, during the ending, you'll find some stolen weapon shipments just here on the map, west from Kuttenberg, in this building just here. It's going to be locked if you haven't started the quest though, so don't bother coming here until you get to that point in the story. And then you literally can't miss it. And once you do arrive, you're going to go down the mine shaft deep underground into the building. And then when you arrive in this cave system, you won't want to miss all the loot inside here. Because after you grab the quest objective, further into the cave tunnel, you'll find a chest in the shadows right at the back. And that's where you're going to find two unique items. Firstly, we have the Lingua Belli Longsword, a crafting recipe for the new best longsword in the entire game, with the highest slash damage of 171, stab 163, and blunt of 33. It's a light, well-balanced long blade, sturdy not only thanks to the steel used, but also the double fullering techniques seen on the blade here. I think it's the only blade in the game that actually has this. It's the sharp tongue of war, Lingua Belli, which proclaims the truth of those who wield it. And it is beautifully decorated with a blue leather sheath. The grip is also blue with a gold inlaid guard as well. A simple but elegant design. Secondly, in the chest, you're also going to find the best mace in the entire game, the Caster's Schematic 2, which when given to your apprentice Pushko at Henry's Forge, after a couple of days, he'll then sell you the Basilisk's Warhammer for 2,550 gold. It deals 42 stab and 150 blunt damage a hit, giving it the highest combined damage of any other blunt weapon in the game. It's also the coolest looking weapon in the game. It has an eagle's beak and claws that are clutching the wooden handle of the weapon. Apparently, whoever looks into its eyes will turn to stone and crumble to dust. We can also unlock a bunch of unique items during the Kuttenberg Shooter's Archery activity, indicated by the icon with an arrow and shield. And it starts here on the map at the Armorer's Shop. Now the first quest just has you go to the quarry and shoot some arrows together. But then you can get a unique crossbow during the next archery quest, which can be started from the backyard of the weaponsmith in the center of town. And this is the specific location you're looking for. All of the other archery activities are going to be random shooting contests that don't progress the archery storyline. So this time when you go to the quarry, Raven is actually missing, and you'll need to find him by following the bloodstains, which leads you south down the road, and then if you follow the rock face to the southwest, you'll find him. You'll find him on the floor just down the road. You can then help him by tracking down the bandits that stole his unique crossbow. Now you'll find the two bandits north of the quarry up the hill in the nearby wood. They're talking, so it's pretty easy to locate where they are. So take them out and you're going to find Raven's crossbow in a sack by the tree where they were originally standing. This is a unique light war crossbow that deals 380 damage a hit. It has the exact same stats and appearance as the decorated field crossbow, and it offers a perfect match between fire speed and damage, arguably one of the best crossbows in the game. However, I recommend that you initially choose to return the crossbow to Raven. He will then give you a discount at his shop, and then immediately after, or during any of the following quests, you can just knock out Raven and steal his crossbow back. In fact, it actually respawns, so you can get it multiple times from doing this. If you've already finished this questline, don't worry, you can find Raven hanging around by the workhouse just here in the south of Kuttenberg, just outside the city walls. He's also going to sell you the Scallet shields, which are otherwise pretty difficult to find, but they're not exclusive to this DLC. Now, if you continue the archery activities, you'll eventually get ambushed at the quarry by bandits, and after fending them off, you'll then find the next archery quest can be found here back at the armory near the main entrance to Kuttenberg. So after getting that quest, you need to now speak to Raven, who needs help with the bandits that he owns money to. And after taking out the main bandit leader Koniash at his camp, which will be marked on your map, make sure that you also loot the chest to get the Armorer 5 sketch before you leave. If you miss doing this, it will eventually appear in the investigation missions, but it's quite annoying to find it randomly. But after Koniash is dead, you can then speak to Raven, and he will have a new unique item for sale once he returns to his shop, which is south of Kuttenberg, just here on the map where the flag is. So now you can go and buy the Caster Recipe 3, which can then be given to Pushko, the apprentice caster who works at your forge once you hire him during the main storyline. Once hired, you can give him that caster free sketch and then wait a few days, and then he will sell you the unique Pushko Push'em firearm for 1,634.4 gold. This is actually the most powerful weapon in the entire game, doing 655 damage and one hit killing anything you come up against instantly. Obviously though, if you actually want to hit targets, you should probably stick to using a bow. And if you're just terrible at archery, you might want to check out our new merch, which embodies the feeling of what it's like when you're trying to shoot a rabbit in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Or perhaps you're just feeling quite hungry. You can check out the new merch from the link below. We can get both the Owl Shield and the Owl's Claw Sabre, but the second is very easily missed during the duel activities. So to start this quest, look for the jewel icon when it appears right outside your forge. You'll find a beggar there who's asking to fight. Now he's actually the legendary George of Owl, a knight in disguise. So after beating him, you might be tempted to knock him out for his unique shield. But doing so will mean that you miss his unique saber later on, so make sure you don't do that. And if you have, since you have to kill him to actually loot him, you have ruined the quest and you won't be able to get his unique sword. But if you do let him go, you'll eventually see another dual icon in Belli, just here on the map. And there you can go and speak to him in the pub and fight him again. He will then have both the unique owl shield and claw saber, and then you'll meet him a final time just west from Kuttenberg at the pub here. And after beating him there, he will give you his unique weapons, and that will be the end of his questline. And also that is the last time you see him, so if you also want to grab his armor set too, check out the more detailed guide that I've linked below in the description for that quest. And now you'll be given the Owl Shield, which is one of the better shields in the game. It's the only shield to bear the unique owl crest on it. So a pretty cool item to hang in Henry's Forge, even if you don't use a shield on your playthrough. Now the Owl's Claw Saber, on the other hand, is a curved weapon with golden flourishes embellished along the blade. And then the hilt and the grip of the sword are also heavily decorated, while the blade itself bears a peculiar mark. I'm not really so sure what the engraving actually means here, but the description reads that you're unlikely to find another saber quite like it, obviously because this and the shield are unique items. But it deals 130 slash damage, making it one of the best non-forgeable tier 3 weapons in the game for slash damage. It's also very light. The next series of quests you can get unique rewards for is the Thief missions. They appear as a hand icon on the map, and after you start the quest line, the repeatable Thief missions are always found in the Hole in the Wall pub just down the road from Henry's Forge. So you can actually ignore those completely, you don't need to do them. I only did 3 of them and I was able to complete the entire quest line myself. It's the unique missions that are always started from the Ragman's house here in Kuttenberg. So when you see this quest marker for the Thief activity, make sure you go and do those, because those are going to progress the actual story. After finishing the final mission for the Sinners of Kuttenberg, you're going to get the following 3 unique items rewarded to you at the same time. Firstly, the Lion's Raw Kilij, a recipe for a one-handed, single-edged Turkish blade resembling a saber, but thanks to its widened tips, it strikes with far more force. The pommel bears the image of Aslan, the lion symbol of ancient kings, for only they were said to have brought it down. It deals 110 stab damage, 137 slash, and 34 blunt damage. Secondly, the Caster's Schematic 1 is also given to the player, and that can be given to your apprentice at the forge, and then Pushko is going to cast that into the unique Buchar Mace. The head appears to be laughing at you because it is the last thing you will see in this life if you stand in its way. It does 121 blunt and 22 stab damage. Overall, it's not as good as the Basilisk mace I showed you earlier, but it is a pretty cool and unique design, great for displaying. Finally, you also receive the sketch for Armorer 2, which when given to the Armorer's apprentice, Standra the Fly, and then after waiting for 2 days, he will then sell you the unique Kuttenberg layered cuirass for 5,680 groschen. I have another guide on how to get the full Kuttenberg armor set, which is spread out all over the world. So if you want that full set, I'll link it below. It does look pretty damn awesome. However, the final series of activities that reward unique items are the Blacksmith commissions. There is a specific special mission that you can get from Hist of Lishkov, who wears red and purple with spectacles, so very hard to miss. And he's always going to randomly appear standing outside your forge. And if you use the reset method I mentioned earlier, you can trigger his quest pretty quickly. And he's going to keep offering you fake swords that you'll need to reforge and then deliver back to him. But eventually, he'll give you one of the best swords in the game. So firstly, you're going to get the Fake-scaliber. This thing might be enough to prove royal blood in Upper Hungary, but in England, it will be thrown into the scrap metal pile. The second item you get from him is going to be the recipe for Durendull, but it turns out that it's Durendull, another fake weapon. If Charlemagne held this piece of junk in his hand, it would fall off in shame. God forbid he gave it to anyone. And then finally, the third item you will get when you meet is the legendary longsword of the 4 Evangelists, a legendary sword that you will only get one chance to craft to the Henry quality. So make sure you save before you start crafting it. It's one of the best and coolest looking longswords in the game. It's a beautifully long sword with engravings of the 4 Evangelists, so Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And according to tradition, each has a supernatural attribute. Matthew is depicted as an angel, Mark as a winged lion, Luke as a winged bull, and John as an eagle. It also has a Templar mark on the pommel and an engraving along the center of the blade. One of the coolest looking weapons in the game. It has 161 stab, 168 slash, and 32 blunt damage. But then, finally, he will return for a final time to tell you a rumor about how to forge the fantasy weapon, a Dragon's Tooth axe. So to get the Dragon's Tooth, you'll need to complete the Dragon's Lair side quest, which was in the base game, by talking to the monk here in Belli, southwest of Kuttenberg. And if you do that quest and beat everyone to the Dragon Bones location, you can actually choose to give in and then steal back the Dragon's Tooth, which you'll need to craft this weapon with. So it is kind of missable depending how you completed that quest earlier. It's a battle axe embedded with a Dragon's Tooth, said to grant it sharpness and durability. It also gives a wider, unyielding willpower, both in battle and if facing one's own dental woes. The bearer won't flinch at a visit to the blacksmith or barber, and the unpleasant procedure that follows. So it does 110 slash and 76 blunt damage, making it the best axe in the game for blunt damage specifically. So pretty good against armored targets. But those are just a few of the new weapons added by the DLC. The game also added a new armor set, along with other unique trinkets like dice, which I've also gone over in this other video linked over here and in the description. But please do leave a like on this one before you leave.